tonight, folks, we're trying to find a value of x that is the same distance from minus 41 over 8 as it is from 5 over 7. And that's what absolute value does. It measures distance. Now, the shapes of these graphs, absolute value graphs, are very familiar. Minus 41 over 8, let's count over, what is that, about 5 over, let's see, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. Now, 41 over 8 is just a little bit bigger than 5. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So the bottom of this absolute value graph will be just to the left of 5, negative 5. Okay, so there's our figure. Looks like this. These lines are, this line segment right here, or this line, ray, I guess, has a slope of m equals 1. Okay. And the line over here, or the ray, I guess you may want to call it, would have a slope of negative 1. Now that's sort of useful because let's sketch the graph of this absolute value function. Now 5 over 7 is a little bit less than 1, so we're going to again draw an absolute value graph also with the same type of slopes. Okay. Now you can see it would eventually run into this graph somewhere, and it looks like this. Again, I'm trying to keep these slopes. This also has a slope of m equals 1 over here, despite that spot where I got excited. Okay, so again, this is 5/7. This is minus 41 over 8. And so you could have some kind of idea. Again, the sketches are by hand, so you never know. But it looks like the graphs might intersect somewhere between minus 2 and 3. So it maybe between minus 3 and 4, but let's say, again, if this graph continued on and if we had them scaled properly, it looks like they intersect somewhere between minus 3 and 2. So let's write that down. This is just an approximation. So x appears to be somewhere between minus 3 and minus 2. Okay. Now, it's possible, just the way I've drawn this, I don't know, what I mean, when you're drawing something by hand, but here's minus 2, here's minus 3. It looks like this graph would go up and cross somewhere in here. So it's pretty close to minus 3 maybe, but I'm guessing it looks like it's probably somewhere between minus 3 and minus 2. And again, that could be off based on just the fact that it is a hand sketch. Okay. Now notice that also we're looking for a point. Remember, halfway between any two real numbers is just the average, right? Or the arithmetic mean. So a plus b divided by 2, I call this the midpoint. We'll just call it MP, not military police, but midpoint. All right, that gives you the value of the midpoint. So you wouldn't have had to draw these absolute value graphs necessary to solve this problem. Now let's go on down and let's utilize that fact. You see, we're actually adding the numbers minus 41 over 8 and 5 over 7 and dividing by 2. Okay. Now at this point right here, I just did they call it cross multiply, but we're finding common denominator, which is certainly 56, since 7 and 8 have no common factors. 56 is the least common denominator. 7 times 41 gives you this minus 287 here. Now let's see, what do we get here? When you add that up, you would get, this would be minus 240 over 56. So this would be minus 240 over 56, but it's half of that, so it would be minus 240 over 112. Okay, and so 247, excuse me, 247, let me erase that. So that's minus 247, folks. And again, hopefully there's enough work here to make you trust me. Now it looks like this number, let's see, does that meet our conditions? It's greater than negative 3 and it's less than negative 2, right? So this is would equal our x. And notice it is between these two numbers, it appears, right? minus 247 over 12 is less than negative 2, right? Because 2 times 112 is 224. Okay, but it's also greater than negative 3. Okay, so this is our solution, folks. And again, you could have just looked at the original equation, and if you understand that absolute value is tantamount to distance, you could have just immediately gone with this approach of adding minus 41 over 8 to 5 over 7 and divided by 2. But I think the picture of the absolute value graphs gives us a little bit more insight. It's not on a scale graph, but you get some idea that there's going to be a single solution just from this graph, a single solution, because all of these lines, this would have a slope of -1 right here, right? This line is slope -1. So you see there's only going to be, in this line right here would also have a slope of -1. So there's only going to be one place where these graphs intersect, since this line right here, this part of the graph never would intersect with this part of the graph since they have the same slopes, right? Alrighty, folks, so there's your answer, minus 247 over 112. Thanks for viewing.